Hey everyone, today we're going to have a look at the art of hitting a nice hole, like that. So let's have a look at a couple of clips and it's a very little detail you can think about when you're hitting a hole. So the first one obviously wasn't a very nice angle to talk about, but it looked cool. But this one, it's a nice hole. All right, so let's have a look. So we've got an ML. Been doing a lot of MLs lately. And you can see as the play is shut down, so we have a player pulling corner there. This guy shuts down, this guy shuts down, and theoretically everyone should shut down and the long ball's on, but not everyone always shuts down. Okay, so let's have a look at this pathway here. So this player here, if everyone was man on, would have this middle. And this middle has got to hit a hole. This guy has got to hit a hole. Now, the hole that you hit is, as a middle, you hit the middle link line. All right, so that's the middle line between the two middles. So the middle link line is that one just out there. Now, I want you to start your run when you're thinking about hitting this hole. Now, as soon as this guy's got onside, I know he's a step off the line, where he plants his feet when he gets onside, that is your point in which you run. So let's imagine that's there. This player is going to run at that point because we know this player is going to move off the line and move off the line, and he's going to move towards the ball. Okay, so he's going to leave that point open. And we don't want to be running into the gap where it is now. Okay, if this player runs into the current gap, then his outside player is going to move in and close that gap down. So you're basically going to be running into a player. All right, so let's watch this line. So this player moves, you can see he's stepped in, and this player's running at the point of where that hole was. All right, this player's done the same thing. The guy that's in front of him has got onside, and he's going to run at the point of where his feet touch the line because he knows that the link in front of him has to shut down to make the touch on this 22 here. So you can see him come in. Now he's come in. You can see he's come in. That leaves that spot open for this link to run that line. All right, it's very hard to see because I couldn't really find any massively wide angles where you could see all the players hitting their hole. All right, but let's have a look again. The middle realigns, and he's identified where that player's got onside, where his feet are. This link's done the same thing. For the winger, they run the J line. I can put a link in the description about the video that I have for a J line. But they run that hole, they straighten up. The two Hills defenders have to leave the point that they got onside to shut down the play. And if they're not all in sync, a hole opens up in the middle. Okay, if he ran to the point of where the hole was when they were getting onside, he'd be catching the ball out here, thus getting touched by the winger. It's a nice put down as well. Let's have a look at another example. Another example of a hole. So it might not be as sort of straightforward. Okay, so you can see this play here has just stepped off the line. So you can imagine half a meter this way he would have got onside. This is the player hitting the hole, and he's going to run at the point of where my pen is, but where he would have been onside, knowing that this defender is going to come in a step or two, and it just opens up so slightly for that run. All right, if he was any wider than that, if he ran at the hole from the get-go, that winger makes the touch because you can see that it's not actually a big hole when they all start shutting down. But because he's picked his point correctly, he was able to get through. It's probably one of the best hole runners around, Jaden Benbow. And there's again, same player, Jaden Benbow, however, this time he hits the middle hole. And I want you to notice what he does here. Let's have a look. He starts hitting the hole, but he notices that he's very close to the ball player, Dylan Hennessy. And the last minute, he'll ever so slightly angle back outwards. Because as he's really close, this player here thinks that the defender might be able to double touch. So he peels out a little bit. but allows that little ever so slight there. It's the last 2 steps, and you can see the angle that he's facing the referee, which is away from the middle of the field. It's just a nice little touch to realign yourself there. So when you start hitting your hole, just start with the baseline. I'm going to aim at those feet, and then when you start getting the hang of that and getting up against better defensive teams, you can look at angling and slight deviations to your angle right at your last couple of steps, or your last step or 2 before you're catching the ball. When you're right into that line, you can then change your angles as you're catching the ball. It's very hard because obviously you've got to still pay attention to the ball. But the more you do it, the better your peripheral vision is going to be. But that's just a little tool when I first start teaching about hitting holes. Just look at the player in front of you, where they get onside. Unless obviously they're stupidly tight, then you run at the point where they get onside. But thanks for watching, guys. That's just about hitting holes. And we'll see you on the next video. Don't forget to subscribe.